Why did you apply in the first place? If you can think
Oh
back
gosh,
that far.
why were the polls?
Yeah, well, you started to say it now.
This is a fairly long story. I was a nurse. I've been a nurse for nearly 30 years. The hospital I worked at closed down. And then you had to go and work at the big hospitals. And I was always in bother for spending too much time with patients. And, you know, for doing too much. And I couldn't cope with it. But eventually I was in Morrison's at the checkout. And a lady came up to me who I'd worked with in fast nursing at a care home and said, "We've heard your hospital's closed down," and the matron said, "If you need a job, there's one here with us." So I went to work at the care home and loved it, and it was mainly people with dementia. And the matron used to say, "I don't know what it is, but you seem to connect with them. You understand what they want. How do you do it?" I didn't know. I hadn't a clue. But around that time, I've been there quite a while, this post came, was advertised, and somebody, I was doing a training for ministry, and somebody said, "This post, you know, and it feels like it's right for you." And in fact, I've been asked if I will tell you about it. So I applied and got it. And it's like, I'd been a general nurse, and then suddenly I was thrust in for quite a long time, nursing people with dementia, being told that I just seemed to connect. This post came up, it was almost like it was made for me. It was wonderful, loved it.
Would it be right to say, do you think, Jackie, that it was a vocation? What you described was very much like. Yes.
Yes.
I thought you'd say that.
Yes.
Can I move on a bit, because we've got limited time? We've heard in Alan's presentation of what we would call light bulb moments that happened. I wonder whether, and I know you have actually, you've got involved actually here with care homes, with the community, with the Christian community, with the training of ministers and so on, even going to Australia, internationally renowned. And when I've been present with your presentations, they've always been wonderful and scintillating. I don't know how you do it, but a good sense of humour is something that's helpful. But can you identify possibly perhaps 2 or 3 light bulb moments in your development? Because you haven't stood still, have you? You've moved on all the time. So can you fill us in about some of this?
This is a little booklet with our daily life. That was the most significant moment, I think, up to the latest, which I'll go into. It's a friendship club for people with dementia and the carers. And this is a picture of my people with dementia on the front. Why was that so significant? No such thing had happened. It was a cafe, really. Dementia cafe, you'd know it as it now. And the Revd Gaynor, who I expected to be here today, was at Trinity Church Rawdon, and I'd been speaking to some church group. He'd heard, and he said, "Could we do something at Rawdon?" I'd recently been to a parents and toddlers group, and I'd seen the kind of children playing, mums sitting talking, volunteers, but mums there, parents or carers there. And I had a light bulb moment and thought, actually this could work for people with dementia. The carers could be there, so they were safe and in safe hands, but the carers could get a break because people could, if you like, talk to the people with dementia, do things with them, have tea and coffee and lovely cake, always lovely cake. And so we decided we'd start this, and we started this friendship club. People came, and it was amazing. But before it got off the ground, the leader there of the AVSED, that's ever voluntary something, for older people, came to see us and made it well known that this could not happen, not to touch it with a barge pole, because A, it wouldn't get off the ground, and if it did, it was downright dangerous. It was the very first dementia cafe. Can you go anywhere in this in the UK and not come across a dementia cafe. That was it. That was a light bulb moment. We haven't got long, have we? There's been many. But one of the things that why could I connect with people with dementia, I somehow recognise the uniqueness of each person. That was quite important to me when I was just nursing in a care home. That we're all different, we all have different needs, call them spiritual needs, not necessarily religious, though that is important, but spiritual. And that we couldn't treat everybody alike. And by recognising individuality, we seem to connect much better with the person with dementia. There were certain things I learned, certain things that became the norm, the knowledge. One of them was, we can all forget what we're saying, can't we? We can be talking a mid-sentence, it goes through your head, and you just forget. And you can forget a word. You know, have you ever been preaching and forgotten what you are? And you forget the word that you're looking for. And so that happens to people with dementia, but maybe much more often. And so we're taught, and we've done, it's something called reality orientation. And just a reminder, oh, when the blank look comes, we were talking about, or maybe remind them about a word they're looking for, or a name they've forgotten. It works, it's good. As people develop the dementia and they're in another world, another era, that's okay. Don't try and make them back into 2023. Enjoy where they are. Join them where they are, because that's where they are. We can enter their world because they can't enter ours. These things worked. And then I was a minister at Hebden Bridge, not that long ago, really, 5 years ago. And I started a dementia group. I just started by putting on soup and tea and coffee and cake, always cake, and inviting people, and people started to come. And then I was contacted by the Alzheimer's Society saying they'd got this group who were that started as early onset dementia, but they were at various stages of dementia, and they'd gone there to this group together and really gelled together and enjoyed it. But the Alzheimer's Society could no longer do it. They had to move on to another group. Would I take them on? They had asked if I would take them on because they'd already been to my soup and tea, coffee and cake. So I said, yes, I would. And they came. And we sat down and we started to, talk. I said, what would you like to do? And they said, right. Peter, he was quite strong in his views. First of all, we don't want organising. We go to other groups and we're told we're playing dominoes, or we're told we're doing a jig. I don't want it. We want to be a group that support one another. Okay, I can do that. And we don't want your interference. I cannot interfere, I can do that. And so that's what we did. And even though they were at various stages, there were still early to moderate stages of dementia. And I was sat talking to Peter one day, and Peter had gone blank. The eyes had misted over, and he clearly forgotten what he was going to say. But I was on the ball, and I said, oh, Peter, we were talking about, stop there. I don't want you reminding me. That's what we'd always done. This is reality orientation. I have my way of doing it, and it works. I'm going to change the subject. Okay. So we changed the subject and started talking about something else. And then all of a sudden a light bulb came on and he said, right, what I was saying about, and he told us to do that. This is new, this is different. And this is a different way of doing it. Okay. There were lots of things where they wanted to be useful. So they wanted a support group. So we had a period of time in the middle of the group where we said, right, has anybody got anything they want to say? Any problems? Anything they want to talk about? And some did. Some actually came out with And it was amazing, because somebody in that group, for all the stages of dementia, was sometimes able to help others. I was gobsmacked, because it was different for me. It was lovely. And so we did that, and if ever I did anything wrong, one of them would tell me off. I couldn't do. I had to do it their way. How wonderful was that? Just doing it their way. So that was really, really special. And then we got another, if you like, little step. I had another group going on at the same time, carers. The carers of people with dementia in another room, and carers who, their person wasn't with me, but they were worried. One carer came and she said, "Can I join the carers group? My husband's just been diagnosed and he won't come, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to handle him, and it's really hard, and we keep having a row, and I don't know what to do." So I thought, okay. So she said, "I'm so frightened," and I thought, do you know, if she met my lot, she wouldn't be as frightened. So I went in and said, "I've got a lady here whose husband's just been diagnosed, and I think it'd help her to meet you." And so they said, yeah, that's okay, we were in. So we took her in and gave her tea and coffee and cake, always cake, and she started to share what the problems were. And some of the ones who were more able to articulate were able to say, don't argue with him. If he's in that, if it's a difficult day and he's struggling, and they were advising her how best to handle. Don't get upset. It's really sad when he's having a hard day, you're having a hard day, you're doing your best. Don't get upset. He still loves you. All these kind of little things were coming out. Honestly, Albert, I couldn't. It was amazing. As time went on, they deteriorated. People deteriorated. But somehow this core, this respect, meant something to all of us. During the time when we had our sharing, which could be quite painful for them at times, things like, I sat in the chair and when I got up, the chair was wet, I wet myself. It was as basic as that. And things like that. Or, I keep having a row with my wife because I think she's got another man, and so talk through it. But one day, not many people had much to say, and I was having a new kitchen fitted. Now then, one of the rules is you do not bring your problems to the people with dementia. It's their day. You don't bring your problems, but it was a big problem. And I'd had two people to look at it. To cut a very long story short, one of the, was a local man who I knew, I saw in Morrison's every day, whatever. And he was going to do it, but it's going to take him ages because he was bringing workers in, electrician from there and a plumber in from there. And the other firm were going to have it done in 10 days, and it seemed, I want it over with. But if I had the other firm, I didn't know then, but I did know this man, and if I said no to this man, how would I face him, and what could I say? And how could I say to him, I don't want you? Because he was a neighbour. So I told them, I said, I don't know what to do, I'm in a dilemma. So it ranged from Peter, who was, when he was with it, he was with it. When he wasn't, he really wasn't, but I'll phone for you. So I said, no, I think I'll phone, but I need to know what to say, I need to know what to do. So one lady said, would you like me to hold your hand? Yes, I'd like my hand held. There were various things, but in the end, there were all sorts of bits about that. They were laughing at me. In the end, they told me to go into the other room and phone up, and they wanted to hear the result. But we had a really good laugh. And laughter does something. Laughter changes. Laughter opens something up in the spirit but in the brain as well. So we had a good laugh. And I did take their advice and have the firm and not the man, and it was all right. And I was able to tell them that. And it was wonderful.
Thank you.
The deteriorate.
Shall we move on? You seem to have a light that flashes on all the time. It comes on and off all the time. So, you know,
this is just the last one, isn't
yes.
it? As they deteriorate, and it's
Yes.
very, very, very sad.
Indeed.
And one of them had gone, and we knew we would have to go into a care home. He was in a very bad way. And one day he was talking, or he wasn't, he was babbling. No words, proper words were coming out. I was holding his hand and he was shaking. And I was trying to get his some sort of calm. And I said, I think your son's coming soon. He lives in Dorset. And he's a lovely boy, isn't he? Very, very caring. And this man said, yes, nuts and bolts, screw, nuts and bolts, like that. And I just knew this man. I said, yes, no, you're right. You put the nuts and bolts together and you hope for the best, that you've done well. And he grabbed me and said, thank you, thank you, thank you, forever. And that was it.
We haven't quite finished yet, but yes, mine is forgetting names, hence I called you Jackie instead of Gaynor. Great compliment to Jackie, of course. But, sorry about that.
No.
But my only, the light bulb moment I remember, if I may just comment, is one of my jobs was to visit people in the homes, Methodist homes, and Fred Pratt Green, the hymn writer, a remarkable hymn writer, was there in his 90s and retired to our home in Norwich. And I went to see him occasionally. And when I went for the last time, they brought him down, and his wife having died. He sat with me, and I said, sorry, Fred, I haven't been for very long. I was so busy. He said, 2.25 years.
Oh!
He already had quite we had him just before he died speaking at a conference, and it was very interesting until he started going around saying the same things a second time. Quite difficult to deal with that, but that's part of the reality.
Of course it is. Yeah.
So thanks for that. I just wanted to move on and mention, well, there's probably two things. First of all, to what extent do you, sounds like an exam question, doesn't it? To what extent do you regard your growing dementia-friendly church, which is one of the very last things, as being perhaps the climax of your work for Faith?
I think this one.
What was another one?
At the end, that was a lot of work and everything. Yeah. That one has been the most used, and the people respond to.
That's help. We have dementia.
Help, we have dementia.
Yes, indeed.
That was written. It was purely the careless stories.
Yes.
That I spoke to for a long time. Got their stories, how they would do things differently. Bits of advice for people coming on the journey.
Yeah.
And I wrote it all into a book. So that was from the carers who had got advice for other people coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
various stages of the journey.
Thank you for that. And obviously, perhaps the final question is, what is there left to do, and how will you be involved, perhaps, in the ongoing work you have been involved with us, but also yourself on your own?
On my own?
Well, you've been involved in doing a lot on your own. We're very, grateful.
I will always be available when people want me to speak on anything. There is a little booklet, which hasn't arrived yet, which I've written about the stories about this particularly everybody. It involves Daphne Wallace, a consultant psychiatrist who got dementia, who, another thing she said to me, because she was very, very learned in this whole area, it's like having locked-in syndrome. I know what I want to say, I know in here, but I can't verbalise it always. We did conferences together for quite a long time after her dementia. But she was another one. She was speaking while she could from the place of dementia. What's next? I don't know. Whatever God has.
Thank you. Well, you can tell that's the scintillating way in which Gaynor always makes her presentations. And we're very grateful to you for doing that, but also allowing us to hear some of that. Anyway, lots more I know, but we haven't perhaps time to do any more now. Thank you so much.